Most lawyers just say, yeah, I'll take your case, sign this quick engagement letter, and I'll send you a bill later. That might seem easy or maybe even like a good idea, but it leads to a thing called scope creep. It also leads to things like billing disputes, confused clients who don't know actually what they're going to be paying for, and worst yet, you sometimes underprice yourself and end up doing work that you weren't really formally engaged for. That is a problem. So today I'm going to show you why creating proposals for everything, or scope of work, can be a total game changer for your law firm. And it's how a well-defined scope of work then aligns expectations, boosts your client satisfaction, more Google reviews, and make sure you get compensated properly. By the end of this video, you're going to see how proposals aren't just paperwork. They are the roadmap that turns casual inquiries and people coming out into profitable, stress-free engagements. We used to do a bit more of that informal approach. Client call and say, sure, we can handle it. Estate planning, put it in there. We get the check. We used to do 2 payments, some up after the design meeting, and then some after signing, typically 50-50. But we ran into misunderstandings, extra work would come in, and were we being paid for it, how much, and it could be unclear. The day we switched to issuing clear, comprehensive proposals, everything changed. Clients knew exactly what they were paying for. Our revenue went up because we were no longer giving away free work or scrambling to explain fees after the fact. So the purpose of a proposal or scope of work is it's going to give clarity to the client, right? The proposal spells out exactly what you're doing and exactly what the client can expect. It's kind of like a house blueprint. No more guessing, no hidden extras. Beyond that, it gives a lot of protection to you. So when everything's in black and white, there's no question about anything. The additional costs, if the client suddenly wants more, can all be laid out as add-ons. You can say, hey, that's outside the scope of our agreement. Let's rescope it or add it in. It's not that you're not going to do it. It just means it just doesn't just cascade and keep taking off. There's a hidden piece here, though, is that it establishes value, right? And a well-crafted proposal highlights your expertise. It's a chance to show how you're going to solve their problem and why your fee is justified. One of the big common pitfalls that I see of no proposals or of pretty weak proposals is truly this thing called scope creep. Without a formal scope of work, you easily find yourself doing extra tasks that weren't part of the initial deal, right? You go, well, that's not how I would have done it, or we didn't really talk about that, and it can be hard to push against it. When you outline it, it's easy to say it was in or out. This difference then turns into what we're setting from the initial onset. You don't have to now feel awkward for sending them a new proposal or charging them more because it was part of what you had discussed. This then ties into billing disputes. Clients may claim, I didn't realize it was going to cost this much. That leads to tension, late payments, or even refusal to pay. When that happens, then you start undervaluing your work. Because if you're winging it, you might forget how much time it actually takes to do certain tasks, and you end up undercharging, especially if you're trying to do this based on time and not on value. So a proposal boosts your revenue and client satisfaction. That sounds like a win-win. And I can tell you, as being at a law firm who has been doing this for years, for thousands of cases, it is truly that good. We want to set the pricing expectations, okay? So when the client sees the scope of work, they understand all of the components of what you're doing. There's not sticker shock. It's more clear. Instead of just saying, I'm going to do estate planning, there's design meetings, there's review meetings, there's signing ceremonies, there's funding, then there's all the different documents, there's all the assessments and titling and mitigation strategies and probate avoidance. That's a lot more than just estate planning, okay? And when we can do that, now we can actually charge more because we can show more value. This positions you truly as the professional that you are. So firms that provide a structured proposal come off as more credible. Think about it. If they go to somebody down the road and they're just like, yeah, sure, I'll do that for you. What kind of confidence do they really get from them? Versus when they meet with you and they get this very detailed outline of everything that's involved in everything that you're going to do. It's no longer apples to apples. And what's apples to oranges is oranges can charge more. This shows you have a systematic approach instead of a, yeah, we'll figure it out attitude. I don't know about you, but unless we're trying to be a generalist that we'll just figure it out doesn't really fly. I don't personally want to work with someone who's going to figure it out. I always want to work with somebody who goes, I have done this hundreds if not thousands of times. It's a no-brainer for me. The proposal and scope of work actually helps show that to people. Additionally, it defines measurable outcomes. So whether we're talking estate planning like what we do, if you're in business and it's a contract review or it's a litigation milestone, the steps are now listed. What's cool is that clients feel like they're in control because they are able to see progress and see where we're moving along with what you said was going to happen. Okay, so what makes then an effective proposal? The first is going to be some kind of an overview, describing the problem and your proposed solution or service. It lets them see that you understand the problem. From there, then we get into what is the actual work, the scope of work, and it's detailing the tasks and deliverables, whether it's research, drafting, filing, negotiations, meetings, back and forth with a counsel. It's saying what is included. There's no confusion now. Here's a secret element that not enough people put in. We have to talk now timelines. When you lay out how long each phase typically takes or when it will be done, it really makes you look professional. It lets the client know then the delays on their end also could extend schedule. So if you go, this takes 2 weeks after I get the information, and they give you information 6 months from now, they know they can't call the next day and say, where is it? It's taking the stress off you, and it's showing that this is kind of a teamwork thing. You need things from them, they'll need things from you, and we have to work together. One of the big things that I like with this is when we start getting into payment terms and the structuring of fees. So fees, like the flat fees, like what we do at Zimmer Law Firm, is all laid out in here. But even if you're hourly, showing the hourly rates to the different people, or if you're doing milestone billing, different phases, or once we accomplish certain things, we're going to charge you. That can all now be shown. You can include when the payment is due, whether it's upfront, at milestones, or just a monthly charge. All of that now can be shown, which is just going to alleviate stress later because there's no hidden surprises. One of the things that we have learned from experience, and that's why I share this stuff, is because you're taking my lessons learned and you get to learn faster. One of the things we did not do early on that we do now are these things we kind of call assumptions and exclusions. So we list what we're not responsible for. Third-party fees, additional unrelated legal matters, further questions that could come up, or additional meetings. This is what we kind of call our scope creep shield. We know the things that could come up that are already outside, so we're just calling them out black and white. This has saved our butts countless times. What we learn is as those things come up that we go, we could help with that, but that would be extra. We just build that in. We show it as an add-on. And as you do that, they are very aware they're in control. As they make decisions that may pull those things in, the client is saying, hey, I now want to leverage you to go further down or pull you in for more work. Even if we're doing something like as simple as a paid strategy meeting, it's very clear this does not include estate planning or elder care documents, or on this probate side, this is not getting you opened up. This is just to talk about a game plan should you choose to engage us further. It's for the one meeting only. It does or doesn't include emails after the meeting. We're very clear that way if they go, hey, I want to get a few more things answered, that may be included, or we can say, awesome, here's a new proposal, there's a new scope of work, let's move forward. It protects everybody and ensures that your work and professionalism and experience is respected. Back before we did these types of proposals, we gave some verbal estimates, we thought about it, but so many of our engagement letters had the 2 to 5 words of what we were doing. Administer the estate of your deceased father, or estate planning for this married couple. It didn't really say anything else. It definitely didn't spell out all of the details of the things we were going to do. What happened is ended up with all of these awkward conversations about what was or wasn't included. We give these quick verbal estimates, rarely spelled out all the unique details, and we ended up with awkward billing moments. Well, I didn't know I was going to owe that much, or I thought that was included. We took all of those, I thought that was included, or I thought you did that, or I thought I only was going to pay this much, and we built all of that in over time into our proposals. People get them now. They know what they're going to pay, what they can expect, how to hold us accountable, and what they're accountable for themselves. It really changes the dynamic. These days, we have way fewer questions about what things cost. It's very clear. We keep iterating and adding it in. So we don't get questions about billing. Clients pay their bills, which are often all upfront or mostly upfront, and they understand what they're going to get on the back end. It's fair to both parties. What's crazy is the feedback from clients. Clients ultimately have said that they love the transparency. They've never had a law firm lay it out so clearly. That's a huge trust builder, and it ultimately gets you more referrals. Again, think about it when just because everyone else does it this other way doesn't mean it's right. So many law firms just go, yeah, we'll do the things. We can take care of it. I've got you covered. That doesn't really instill confidence. You get to shift the narrative, and it's wild. Now, I know some of you are going to go, proposals, they take too much time. And that could be maybe true initially. But once you have templates, it's a simple matter of just customizing and popping some details in and out. Plus the time saved avoiding disputes, arguing with clients, and trying to explain the differences is massive time savings. That all simply goes to zero. Other people I've heard have said, like, I don't want to overwhelm clients with details. I want to just say we're going to handle your estate planning. I'm telling you, they want the details, at least enough to feel confident. This doesn't mean you've got to make a 72-page proposal for a $3,000 legal package of estate planning or family law, whatever it is you do. It can be clean, use bullet points, something that they could skim through. Anywhere from a half page to a page is plenty for a lot of things. If it's more advanced, like our probate, for example, about 4 to 5 pages long. Our estate planning, usually 1, maybe 2 pages. Others sometimes say, like, we're just a small law firm. Isn't a formal proposal overkill? If anything, I'd argue that small firms might benefit the most. It levels the playing field with larger competitors and protects your limited resources. It's going to make sure you don't get screwed, and it also shows your professionalism and kind of lets you level up. So here's a few tips to implement these. First, just create a template. It's started. Ours has changed over the years a ton. I don't look back and go, I wish we never started with that. It's just evolved. It's okay to evolve. Have a baseline proposal for each practice area: estate planning, business contracts, divorce. Tweak them as needed. If you can, depending on state and things, e-signature tools are phenomenal. Again, let's not make this harder than it needs to be. We want to make it easy for clients to sign, to view it, to make payment to us. When we do this, we also get to control the narrative. We get to highlight the value before we get to the price. So we can show the scope of everything we do, the experience, the tasks that you're going to handle, and the outcomes that you're going to deliver. Then the price is a little bit more palatable. And then, depending on how big it is or how you want to do this, you could always schedule a call or meeting to walk them through it, or somebody on your team could walk them through it. So there's zero confusion. So this is a good thing. It gives you less stress. Everything is laid out from day one. Ultimately, then this ties into things like cash flow, because clients are going to pay faster because they know exactly what's due and when. This then means better client relationships where they're more happy to refer to you because they're loving the process. And this process meets the expectations of what they see in the businesses where they work and other industries that they interface with. And when they see that, they're going to send more referrals to you because they trust your process. Happy clients are repeat clients, and they send referrals because they trust your process. So when you skip on proposals, you risk scope creep, billing confusion, and lost revenue. Plus, you look less professional. That is a losing combination for any law firm. But with a clear, well-structured proposal, you define the work, the price, and the timeline before anyone ever gets frustrated. Clients feel confident, you protect your bottom line, and no one gets blindsided. We used to do the handshake approach. Trust me, we're good. I got you. But once we put proposals in place for every matter, from a simple contract to complex estate planning, it was a night and day difference. Our revenue group went up, our clients stuck around and referred and came back, and LTV went up because they appreciated the clarity. So if you're ready to give your law firm the gift of clarity and profitability, start drafting a proposal template for your main services. If you need more guidance, drop something in the comments. I've got a lot of examples and tips and ideas to help you out. And remember the Pareto principle. This doesn't have to be perfect for every single thing. Shoot for the 80% benchmark and watch what happens.